All right, guys, continuing on in Unit 9. Today, we're going to focus on subtracting polynomials. We still want to write them in standard form when we are finished subtracting. So you're going to notice today that there's going to be a minus sign between the parentheses. And as this note says, this guy, the negative sign, distributes into these. So what happened to this positive 3x squared right down here? It's a negative 3x squared. This negative 1 times positive 3 became negative 3. Same thing to the next one. Negative 1 times negative 1 became positive right here. And negative 1 times positive 5 became a negative 5 right here. The 5x squared plus 3x plus 6 is still from the first parentheses, but everything in the second parentheses has a new sign in front of it. If it was positive, now it's negative. If it was negative, now it's positive. And then you would still follow the steps we did yesterday with adding. 5x squared minus 3x squared is 2x squared. 3x plus 1x is 4x. And negative 6 plus negative 5 is negative 11, putting our answer in standard form. Remember, this 2 tells you this is a quadratic. And since there are 3 terms, you would call it a trinomial. Don't forget how to name them. Just because that lesson is passed, we still need to know how to classify them. So we're going to practice. Here's one. It's got that minus sign in between the parentheses. So I'm going to multiply everything after it times negative 1. Everything before it stays the same. So I still have 6x squared. I still have plus or positive 7x. I still have plus or positive 2. But now negative 1 times negative 9 is going to give me positive 9x squared. And negative 1 times negative 10 is going to give me positive 10. Then we're going to go back to identifying our powers. So power of 2, power of 1, no power, power of 2, no power. My most underlines is the same as my highest power of 2. So I'm going to put together those two terms. 6x squared and positive 9x squared is 15x squared. Then I'm going to move down to 1 underline, and there's only one term, so I just keep it, plus 7x. Then I'm going to move down to 0 underlines. 2 plus 10 is 12. Here's another example. This one also has the minus sign between the parentheses. That minus sign is technically a negative 1 that's going to distribute to the parentheses after. Again, the parentheses before do not change. So this still equals 2n to the third plus 3n plus 3n to the fourth power. But over here, now I need to distribute. Negative 1 times positive 6 is negative 6n. And then negative 1 times negative 8, a negative times a negative is a positive. So positive 8n to the third power. Then I'm going to keep up my strategy of identifying the exponents. So this is third power, first power, fourth power, first power, third power. Fourth power is my highest, so I'm going to take 3n to the fourth. There's only one term. But I have 2 terms to the third power, positive 2 and positive 8 together. That's positive 10n to the third power. I have 2 things to the first power, positive 3 and negative 6. Be careful. Adding positive 3 and negative 6 does not give you 9. It gives you negative 3n. If you do it that way, you will end up in standard form, highest exponent to lowest exponent. This has an exponent of 4, so we call it fourth degree. and there is a name for that. It's called quartic. We're just going to call it fourth degree. And since there are 1, 2, 3 terms, we're going to call it a trinomial. Please keep in mind how to name our polynomials throughout this unit. Okay, one more practice, guys. Remember, this -1 is going to distribute to everything after it, but everything before it remains the same. So 8x squared remains, -3x remains, and basically all of these are about to change to the opposite. Negative times a positive gives me -8x, and then negative times a positive gives me -3x to the third. And one more time, negative times a positive gives me negative, so 4x squared. Do my same strategy of looking at the exponents that I've been given. And I notice my highest number of underlines is 3. And this negative is stuck to the 3, so -3x to the third. My next number of underlines is 2, so +8 and -4 combined together gives me 4x squared. Then both of these have one underline and they're both negative. If they're the same sign, you add them. So -3 plus -8 is -11x. Highest exponent to lowest exponent. This is cubic because it has a third power, and it's a trinomial because there are 3 terms, cubic trinomial.